The world is full of money traps, and if you know which ones you need to avoid, you can build so much wealth. And today, we are going to be talking about the 9 middle-class money traps that you need to avoid at all costs. Number 1 is buying too much house. In 2020, the Federal Reserve did a study, and 14% of Americans were spending over 50% of their income on their housing. And a large portion of the population was spending over 30% of their income on housing. This is a very big problem because if you spend more than 30% of your income on your housing, then you are going to be what is called house poor. And the last thing that you want to do is get yourself into this situation, because the thing to understand is houses are part of the big 3 expenses, where it's housing, it's food, and it's transportation. And if you don't control these 3 big costs, you are really not going to ever be able to build wealth. So if you find that beautiful house that you love and you're spending way more than 30% of your income, then the likelihood of you building wealth goes down significantly because of that, unless you forego something else like transportation and or reduce the amount of cost that you spend on food. So the first rule of thumb when it comes to housing is make sure you keep your housing below 30% of your net income. If you want to be financially independent or you want to retire very early, bump that number down to 25% of your net income. Now, you're going to hear a lot of people out there say your gross income, but this is all of your housing costs put together. So you have to understand that if you buy a house, there are a lot of costs associated with that house. And long term, people put the majority of their wealth inside of their house when really a house is not that great of an asset. Over the last 50 years, the majority of houses have appreciated at 4%. The reason why is because there's so much additional cost associated with it, including upkeep, taxes, interest rate based on your mortgage. The list goes on and on and on. So making sure that you control this expense and don't fall into the money trap of buying more house than you can afford. Number 2, and this is a massive one, is having too high of a car payment. So all over TikTok and all over Instagram, you're going to see all of these car dealerships trying to normalize the fact that people are spending over $1,000 per month on their car payment. This, my friends, is absolute insanity if you want to build wealth. If you are not wealthy yet, then you should not be paying $1,000 per month in your car payment. Instead, what you should be doing is trying to reduce this transportation cost. Now listen to this here, because I know for a lot of people, cars are their things. If cars are your thing and that's what brings you value and you reduce your spending in other places, more power to you. I want you to spend money on things that you enjoy, that you love, that bring you value. But for most people, the reason why they buy a car is to impress people that they don't even like. And let me give you a visual here. When you buy a car, most people don't think, oh, that person is really cool because they have that car. Instead, what they think is, I wonder what I would look like if I was in that car. These are some of the psychological hacks that you need to understand before you take on a massive car payment. Car payments will absolutely kill your wealth. This is the number 1 reason why most Americans cannot build wealth. In fact, just this year, the average car payment is $745 per month. If you spend $745 per month, you better have a massive income coming in to be able to afford that payment. Do not let your car payments kill your wealth building ability. Number 3 is along the same lines. It's thinking about a monthly payment instead of total cost of ownership. So what a lot of middle class people do, and people who never are able to build wealth, and people who are not financial savvy, is they think of, can I afford the monthly payment? This is the wrong way of thinking. Instead, what you need to think about is, what is the total cost of ownership? Because the total cost of ownership can be much more expensive than what that monthly payment is. And people who think about the monthly payment really get themselves into a lot of financial trouble, and this is where debt starts to snowball. So making sure that you understand, you need to think about total cost of ownership. Let me give you an example here. Say, for example, you buy a brand new boat, and you think about this in terms of just the monthly payments on that boat. You went out and got financing, you have that brand new boat. But the things that you are not calculating are repair and maintenance on that brand new boat, how much the interest rate is on that financing, which can be a massive amount of money. In addition, how much gas do you have to put in that? How much more is it going to cost you every single month to maintain this boat, to buy the supplies you need for the boat? All these various items are going to change the total cost of ownership for this boat, where you may be thinking, hey, I just bought a boat for $50,000, but instead the total cost of ownership comes out to $300,000. Imagine what you can do with $300,000 if you invested it right now and it compounded over time. This is where you have to think through total cost of ownership plus what is the opportunity cost that I am losing out with this monthly payment. So do Do not think of things in monthly payments. Instead, think about them with total cost of ownership if you want to be financially savvy. Number 4 is not investing. Now, I'm going to say this loud and clear for everybody who is watching this video. If you do not invest your money, you will never be able to retire. You want me to say it louder for the people in the back? If you do not invest your money, you will never be able to retire. Now, there's a bunch of different ways that you can invest your dollars, but waiting to invest your money until there's a better time is also something I would never do. Making sure you invest early, you invest often, and consistently will allow you to build wealth over time. See, investing is not a get-rich-quick thing. People who tell you that are people who have never built generational wealth. If you look at some of the greatest investors of all time, you can look at someone like Warren Buffett, who built 98% of his wealth after the age of 50. And this is what happens because compound interest starts to get going and it starts to snowball. And then all of a sudden, you don't have to work anymore once that snowball gets large enough, but it starts with investing. In fact, 25% of households have no retirement savings, and only 55% of Americans report owning stocks, which is way down from 67% just a few years ago. This is a massive problem that we have to fix, because if we do not fix this issue, most people will not be able to retire. Now, I don't care what you invest in. We like index funds and ETFs here. I like to invest in real estate, and I like to invest in businesses as well. So figure out what you enjoy investing in, understand what you're investing in, and get started investing every single month. If you're brand new to investing, we have a free investing webinar that you can check out. We will link it up down below so that you can check that out and have that step-by-step guide. Number 5 is going through a career plateau or an earnings plateau. So when it comes to your wealth building, the easiest way to accelerate your path to wealth is to increase the amount of money that you make. And if you have an earnings or career plateau, or you're just comfortable in your job and you're not increasing your income, then this is going to be a major problem in the long run, because inflation is a real thing, and inflation is going to eat away at your buying power. And if you're not increasing the amount that you make every single year, then you are taking a pay cut every single year. Making sure you understand how to advance at your job is a very powerful thing to do. Here is one way to do this: is sit down with your boss and develop a 6-month plan and say, hey, I want to earn more money. By the time this 6-month plan is over, what can I do in order to earn more money? And then they're going to go through some of the things that you need to do in order to earn more money. If they say there's no room to grow, then that's the red flag that it is time to move on. In fact, people who change jobs on average make 14% more every single time they switch companies. So do not be loyal to your employer. Make sure you communicate with your boss so that you know what is expected of you in order to earn more money, so that at your day job you can increase your income and not become complacent with the salary you're making now. Number 6 is the silent killer, which is lifestyle creep. And if you don't know what lifestyle creep is, this is when your expenses creep up as your income creeps up. Now, everyone is going to have lifestyle creep throughout their lives. You're going to get married, costs are going to go up. You're going to have kids, costs are going to go up. And a lot of other things in life are going to happen and cause changes in your life. That means expenses go up. This is a very normal thing. But when lifestyle creep gets out of hand is when, Houston, you've got a problem. So what you need to do is you need to look at what your expenses are now, and then you need to be very conscious about how much they creep up. One big example that we just gave was the car payment. Maybe you make a little bit more money and all of a sudden you take the difference there and you put it towards a car payment. That is the wrong thing to do in most situations. Instead, what you should be looking to do is taking a portion of that increase and investing those dollars for your financial future. Why? Because you'll be able to retire so much faster if you do that. So always invest a portion of it and save a portion of it. And if you are doing that, then it will absolutely change the way that you can build wealth over time. There's nothing wrong with spending money. In fact, I want you to spend lavishly on the things that you love. But at the same time, I want you to also be able to build wealth so that you can have freedom with your time and money. Number 7 is getting deep into student debt. So student debt is at an all-time high right now. There's a number of different reasons for that, but one of which is colleges have obviously increased the amount of money that it costs to go to college. So what you need to do is be very conscious early on about reducing that student loan debt. If you're a college student, you're watching this video right now, I would consider a lower cost college over a higher cost college, because in the long run, you're going to be working your butt off to pay off those student loans. People work for 30 plus years just to pay off their student loans. So if you're thinking of going out of state and there's an in-state college that is just as good, go to the in-state college and reduce those tuition fees. In fact, unless you're in very specific industries, for most people, where your degree is from matters less than it used to. As long as you have the degree, that is what's going to help propel you forward. In fact, there's been numerous studies done that people with degrees obviously make more money over time. There's nothing wrong with getting that degree if you have to take on debt, but making sure you understand what the implications are when it comes to that debt is going to be one of the most important things that you can do. Money trap number 8 is keeping high interest debt. The last thing that I want you to do is hang on to high interest debt, because high interest debt is what destroys your wealth building ability. So what is high interest debt? For us, it is any debt above a 6% interest rate. You want to get rid of that debt as fast as you possibly can. In fact, this is a pants on fire emergency. Why? Because this is compound interest working against you instead of for you. We want our boy compound interest to be working for us so that we can start to build that wealth. But debt will absolutely kill you. So if you have credit card debt, which is the most common form of high interest debt, you need to look at those statements and you need to pay that credit card debt off as fast as you possibly can. In most circumstances, credit card debt is between 16 and 30% interest rate. You can never make that in the market, and you can never make that in real estate. So you got to make sure that you are paying that down first and getting rid of that high interest debt. If you have high interest debt on student loans, maybe you have high interest debt on a personal loan, you need to get rid of this high interest debt so that it is not killing your wealth building ability. And then middle class money trap number 9 is trying the hottest stock or investment tip. The last thing that you want to do is start to change your investment philosophy just because you saw some guru online say, hey, you need to invest in life insurance. Hey, you need to invest in penny stocks. Hey, you need to day trade. Hey, you need to buy this type of rental property. Instead, you set up an investment plan and you stick to that investment plan for the long run. Why? Because that is how you can build that generational wealth if you use time-tested investments. What are time-tested investments? Things like index funds and ETFs, things like investing in cash flowing real estate, things like buying out boring businesses. These are all different things that you can do that are time-tested, historically proven, and will allow you to build wealth long-term. Do not look at these get-rich-quick schemes or these financial gurus out there who are telling you that you need to be investing in all these wacky, crazy things. Instead, what makes sense? What do you understand? And how can it help you build wealth going forward? Listen, I hope you guys learned a ton in this video. If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell as well. And if you love this content, we also have our podcast on this channel called the Personal Finance Podcast. Make sure you check that out. You can watch that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we will see you on the next video.